10:15 in progress. Officers respond. We get that call at least once a week. There's always something going on at Burnaby's. Hello, my name is Reggie. I'm the town sheriff. I have been for the last 20-something years. Anyway, for those of you that don't know what 1015 means, that's the police code for civil disturbance. Now, first and foremost, Burnaby's is a very old store. Parents shopping there when I was a child, as their parents shopped there as well. Anyway, my officers and I responded to many calls to that store, such as fights, freak accidents, alleged intruders, among other things. Over the years, I've become quite friendly with the owner, Pat. He must have excellent insurance to cover all the incidents that have happened there. Anyway, he mentioned a while back about stories he's collecting, so I thought I'd throw mine into the mix. Now, I served as a Marine for a short period of time before becoming sheriff. As a Marine, I've seen my share of blood, guts, and death, both here in the US as well as overseas, but nothing compares to what I encountered one early September morning at Burnaby's. The last time I was there before this, I ran into a guy I went to high school with, Steven something. He found a bag of body parts, but that's a different story. Anyway, I was working the graveyard shift, which I volunteered to do at least once a month. That night just so happened to be my night. And it's a night I will never forget. It was about 2 a.m. We had gotten a noise complaint from a civilian in the neighboring housing development. They reported the loud sound of metal to metal coming from Burnaby's. Dispatch announced the call. Here we go again, I said to myself. I notified dispatch that I would be handling to the call, flipped on the red and blues, and made my way to the store. I radioed over to the other officer working the shift with me and told him to meet me at the store. I arrived first. I did a quick pass around the outside of the building per protocol and discovered one of the large metal loading dock doors moving up slowly, then dropping down fast, all on its own, creating the sound that was reported. I parked my car directly in front of them, my headlights shining on the door. The store was closed, so I knew no one should be in there. I informed dispatch that I was on the scene and to stand by for further instruction, at which time the other officer pulled up beside me. We looked at each other. I gave him the ready go signal, and we exited our vehicles. The moment we did, we heard the sound of tom-tom drums. It seemed to be surrounding us. We drew our weapons and proceed to walk towards the door. The sound was deafening. I'm sorry about all the details, but as a cop, details are very important. Anyway, we were 5 feet away from the slamming doors. I announced, "Sheriff's Department, come out with your hands up." No response. The drumming stopped. Apparently this also happened to Pat a few months back, but that's a different story. Anyway, we reached the doors and decided that we would have to jump and roll into the back room while the bay door was going up, calculating it perfectly. I went first. I holstered my weapon, the door went up halfway, I jumped and rolled into the darkened back room, drawing my weapon once again. I mentioned for the other officer to come in, a decision I would later regret. Unfortunately, he wasn't so lucky. The door went up about halfway. The officer attempted his jump. Just as he landed on the concrete floor, the door slammed down with immense force, crushing his skull and his body underneath it. I knew he was dead. He left behind a wife and a 4-year-old boy. I had to inform his wife. Anyway, I immediately contacted dispatch through my shoulder mic and called in a officer down in need of assistance. Now in complete darkness, I drew out my flashlight, flicked it on so I could see my surroundings. There was blood and brains spattered all over a stack of pallets, a pallet jack, and the bay door. I said a prayer, then turned and walked slowly through the back room, shining my flashlight left and right. A few times, I could have sworn I seen something move above the coolers. Suddenly, a blood-curdling scream. The ground started to shake and every light came on, flickering and buzzing in random patterns. Pallets started flying through the air, another scream. A phantom wind came and blew me hard against the back wall. Various sorts of debris and cardboard flying through the air. Large pieces of machinery began levitating on their own. The drums began again. Louder this time, 2-liter bottles of soda began levitating and then smashing forcefully into the ground repeatedly. Large shelving began tumbling over, smashing its contents all over. The drumming continued. Every door began opening and shutting. The office doors, the cooler doors, even the loading dock doors repeatedly slamming down on the officer's bloody, mutilated corpse. I screamed and closed my eyes and unloaded my weapon, the full clip, blindly in any direction. I felt the fear I've never felt before, not even in the war. I knew I was gonna die. I slid down the wall into a sitting position, opened my eyes and saw a tomahawk appear out of thin air, whirling fast, coming directly at my head. I screamed once again, then lost consciousness. I was told days later that members of the town's fire department and coroner team found me about 30 minutes later, shaking, sweating, and mumbling to myself. The entire back room in complete shambles. I don't remember them finding me at all. First thing I remember is waking up in a hospital bed 2 days later. Doctors said that besides a few bruises and bumps, I was completely fine. I took a couple days off to try to get my head straight. I still have nightmares sometimes. I don't respond to calls at Barnaby's anymore. Never again, and I never will. I'm not ashamed to say that the place scares the bejesus out of me, and I'm a fucking cop. I'm sitting in my patrol car writing this at the donut shop across the street from the store. 10:15 in progress. Officers respond.